horn and then taking the fight to the bad guys in the bush. On a daily basis, our people are in the bush hunting down these bad guys, and then we have kept them away from our people. And in almost all our communities now, people can sleep with their two eyes closed. The attack on Costec, the
Yes.
Confluence University of Science and Technology, or SARA, which was maybe the only dark spot that we've had since we came, I think we've been able to turn the tide against the criminals. And every day we are unveiling new security measures with which we've been able to keep the bad guys out of our state, largely.
What is the relationship of the opposition with the current administration? Because what we see most times across other parts of the country is the fact that the opposition takes this very aggressive approach to constantly antagonizing and criticizing every step the administration in power takes. But what's the situation in Kogi? Because coming out of the 2023 elections, the impression that was created was that there was a very virile opposition in Kogi State, and it was an opposition that was very loud and ready to seriously tackle the administration in power if it found any of its policies questionable. But what's the situation now?
Well, to a large extent, I do not believe there is still opposition operating in Kogi State, politically speaking,
Okay.
because the current administration has done so well. In fact, by our own template, in terms of our KPIs, we've surpassed our performance in 10 months, what we wanted to do in 1 year, both in terms of infrastructure, in terms of security of lives and property, in terms of social welfare, in terms of inclusion of youth and women in governance. So there is hardly anything for the opposition to talk about, except they want to just redefine themselves and then make themselves a subject of mockery and ridicule. We've done very well in all these areas, and in agriculture we've done very, very well. And maybe as we go on, I will reel out some facts just to justify some of the things we've done. So there's really no space for the opposition in the state, except somebody who just wants to be wicked.
I'm interested in your KPIs, the template, because when we started this conversation, you said Governor Usman Ododo came in prepared. He already knew what the issues were or are
Yes.
and where the challenges lie.
Yes.
So, what was the template, or what is the template he has put in place that has already in 10 months began to yield the kind of results we're seeing in Kogi State?
Okay. Coming to office, we had 4 cardinal areas we wanted to touch in terms of inclusive governance, accountability and transparency, social welfare, agriculture, and also human capital development, which also delves into education, and then healthcare. So all of these areas we have focused on, and we've pursued aggressive policies and programs consistently in these areas. There's hardly a day or a week where you won't see new initiatives coming on stream, either in terms of one man, 1 hectare agricultural programs, under which we've established about 76 farm clusters in the state, covering over 10,000 hectares and well over 8,600 farmers. The government did declaring cultivation, provide seedlings, fertilizer, everything that needs to be done to support smallholder farmers. And government has also offered to be the off-taker for all of the produce coming out of that place, so that we can really ensure that our farmers are not ripped off of the gains. We've also been able to do about 65 kilometers of rural road that we've just opened, which is to connect farming communities to off-takers or places where the farm produce are most needed. We're also setting up agricultural processing centers, about 3 of them in the 3 senatorial districts of the state. And in healthcare, we wanted to do revitalize about 63 primary healthcare centers. So now we are doing about 74. So when I say we've surpassed our expectation in terms of the first 1 year, these are backed by facts. And in the next 2 months, when we'll be 1 year in office, maybe we'll have to invite you to see some of the flag of inspection and commissioning of projects that is going to herald everything we'll be doing from January 27th. Maybe for about a month or so, we'll continue to go on the road. In terms of youth inclusion instance, Kogi State is the only state where we've had over 35% affirmative action for women participation in governance. That's why in all the 11 wards in each of the local government areas, we ensure as a government policy that at least there should be 4 or more representation of women out of the 11 councillors in each local government. It's also been agreed that the council leaders should be women, which is the head of the legislative arm of the local government should be women, and that has been done. We also have a female local government chairman in Ogoremagongo local government, one of the few, if not one, if not the only in northern Nigeria as of today. So this we've done. We have over 4 commissioners now that are female in the cabinet. That has surpassed what it was in the last administration, where there were about 2 or so. So there are so many things we are doing in terms of youth representation. So many people, about 85% of people holding cabinet position in Kogi State are youth, about 40 and below. So that's what we've done in terms of governance, and we are doing all of this also bearing in mind that the future of our young people are very important. So that's why we are making massive investment in education. You've seen that just recently we approved the payment of WAEC fees,
Yes.
about 600 million naira for over 8,000 students in final year students in secondary schools. We've also begun implementation of payment of bursary to our students. Those in law school are earning about 300,000. Those doing other undergraduate courses are earning about 30,000, which is over 50% increase from what it used to be. So there's a whole lot that we're doing.
Where is Kogi State getting all this money? Because prior to this administration, there has always been this impression that Kogi State is one of those states that doesn't get much from allocation, and it's not really making so much money. So where is Governor Usman Ododo getting all this money? And at least as far as I know, I have not seen any report suggesting that Kogi State has gone out to get loans to be able to fund projects. So how has he been able to make all of this happen financially?
Well, as he said during the announcement of the payment of 2,500 minimum wage, by the way, we are the first state to commence the implementation in October in Nigeria, even ahead of the federal government, you recall. He said, the governor did say that what has been the driving force for him in terms of managing the resources of the state is the fact that he's surrounded by people who daily provide sound advice on how best to manage resources that is available to the state government and to ensure that resources are put to the best use. So what we do is that there are many items that we consider not on first line charges, which His Excellency does not like to look at so much. But those items about security, about welfare of our people, about the state health insurance scheme for formal sector, and then those for free health care for vulnerable people, and then issue of education with WAEC fees and bursaries, including payment for external exams such as UTME and common entrance for those in primary school. These are very germane to him. So that's why all the resources are being deployed. Then talk about food because of our strategic location as a state bound by about 9 other states plus the FCT. We know the precarious nature of food security that we have to combat in the state. So that's why we are doing massive investment in agriculture, where we have refurbished over 200 tractors that has saved us nearly well over 200 billion if we were to buy them brand new. So we found them in places where they were abandoned, either by the farmers or those who hired them for use. So over the years, so we recall all of them, assemble a team of engineers that refurbish them, saving the state tens of billions of naira. So those are the kind of money we are deploying into fixing, for instance, all the facilities by the Kogi State Road Maintenance Agency, which has been embarking on road rehabilitation. Right now, we are doing over 100 kilometers, and we intend to do up to 400 kilometers by the time the government is 4 years in office. So these are some of the things we are doing. It's serious financial engineering, and not forgetting the fact that His Excellency, the governor of the state, is an auditor who knows exactly how to plot the graph in terms of making savings where necessary and ensuring that those savings made are deployed in the right places.
Social welfare in Kogi. what is the dynamics now in terms of social welfare? You have pointed out that the current administration is very much in percent affirmative action.
Sure.
So women, the youths are a focal point
Yes.
as far as this administration is
Sure.
concerned. So, but what is the dynamics as far as Kogi people are concerned?
Mm.
You know, what really tickles my fancy about this conversation we're having is that all of a sudden, we rarely hear Kogi in the news, but so much is happening. And one begins to wonder, how is it that Kogi was always in the news for the negative things, but now that so much is going on, nobody's getting to hear of it?
We are doing our best in terms of trying to communicate government policies and programs as they happen. But again, our emphasis has been to build from bottom up in terms of patronage with local media, and then we're also escalating to our colleagues like you who are outside of the state. So, in terms of the understanding of why we're always in the news and the past, maybe the maxim that when the man bites a dog, it makes more
More
news than
news
when a dog bites
bites
a
a
man.
man, yes.
So applies here in the sense that they were, I mean, the stories were more about the unpleasant side of Kogi State that you were following in the past. But now that a lot of positive things are happening, maybe those who were purveyors of those negative stories have suddenly taken a back seat and then have nothing to escalate to the level that people like you will probably be getting in your bedroom. So again, to emphasize that His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Ahmed Usman Ododo, is a very quiet, unassuming, extremely humble person. In short, he's humane to a fault, to the extent that there are so many things we do that he will say, just keep quiet. Your work will speak for you. Sometimes when people try to throw tantrums, say, don't respond. Your work will respond. So that's his personality has become ingrained in almost all of us who are speaking on behalf of the government, to the extent that some of the things he does, uh, I wouldn't say they go unnoticed, but they may not be as loud as you would want them to be. But with time going into the first year in office, where we have a lot of projects to commission and unveil, so there will be a lot of noise around some of the things he's been doing, which we have deliberately kept quiet for some time because he wanted some of these things to be completed before we go on the bank.
The people,
Yes.
how are the people embracing this administration?
I wish I would not be speaking for the people because I speak for the government. I would have encouraged you to take a trip to any part of Kogi State and then just engage anybody on the street. I think in less than a week, we'll be having the Kogi International Carnival. I hope the organizers will invite you at least to come, even if it's for one day, just come to
Yes.
Lokoja, even if you can't go to other parts of the state, and then engage just random people in the markets, in the shopping malls, maybe around campuses or around the streets, and just talk to them about how the government is doing. People are beginning to feel the impact in terms of what we're doing in social infrastructure, in terms of what we're doing for bursary for students, or subvention for all the youth organizations and the student organizations. I mean, provision of support for our farmers, our pensioners, for the first time have got a raise in their pay, and it also came with free health insurance, especially for those earning less than 50,000 naira among pensioners. Don't forget that our civil servants, whose pay has just been raised to 72,500, also came with additional benefit of ensuring that there's a tax freeze on the incremental adjustment that has come on their salary. So there's no the tax element will not take effect for 1 year. And
Wow.
that's the only state where that has been done. So there's a whole lot happening that, I mean, if you go around the nooks and crannies of Kogi now, you see that all our interconnecting roads in the rural areas, they are being seriously renovated, or new ones are being constructed. You can go around. I'm aware that in my community, for instance, there's a road passing through my father's house, which has been left there for many years. This administration has taken it upon itself, building on what the last administration did in part of the road. Now they want to make sure it's completed probably before the end of December. So there's a whole lot happening, and all of us who are citizens of the state can attest and verify this, and it's not a matter of hearsay. We can feel it.
It's happening.
We can feel it. Speak to an average worker in the state. Salaries has just been paid. I mean,
Maybe I should relocate to Kogi State.
well, you're welcome.
Before we take a break,
Yes.
Kogi State is a very strategically located state. It's a transit state, as you rightly said, bordered by several other states.
Yeah.
How easy in the last 10 months thereabout has it been for Governor Ododo to attract some direct foreign investment in Kogi State?
Thank you. It's an area that we are looking at very seriously, which is why if you've seen what we're doing in terms of establishing our industrial park, creating a development corridor in the Jakuta area, where we are, putting a free zone in partnership with NEBZA, Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority, and then also we are trying to upscale the Zariagi airstrip to an international airport. I'm sure you saw in the news. So there are so many areas where we are beginning to attract investment into the state. There's a lot that is happening in tourism, which we are not going to unveil yet. I'm sure in the next few months, you will see some things being unveiled as to the kind of investment we are attracting in tourism.
I had a little birdie had whispered something about tourism. I was going to ask you, but now you've preempted it.
Yes.
But no problem. Now, Kogi State, Nigeria, has seen significant infrastructural development in recent years, including road construction, new roundabouts, and improved street lighting. Now, let's look at some of the roads. The state has completed major earthworks and installed drainage systems on the 12-kilometer Okaito Omagede Road.
Yes.
The 5.5-kilometer Crusher Dual Carriageway.
It will be completed in the next 2 weeks.
Which is a very key point
Sure.
to
And
Lokoja
there's
town.
a 9-kilometer from also Zone 8 roundabout going to the former Kaduna roundabout, now named GYB roundabout, to the express. 9 kilometer is done already.
Done.
It's done already, yes.
Wow. Well, the Kogi State Road Maintenance Agency is also working on township roads across 8 local government areas of the state. Now, if you've ever been to Kogi, I've traveled. I do road travel a lot. And Kogi is one, you can't leave Abuja and not pass through Kogi, especially if you're going down south or even to the east. Now, the government has constructed new roundabouts and constructed existing ones to address bottlenecks that previously hampered trade and mobility. New street lights have been installed to enhance safety and create a welcoming environment. The government has also approved, from what I hear, 8 billion naira for infrastructural development in Kogi Varsity. Now, the state's infrastructural development has been recognized beyond its borders, with business owners and investors taking note. The improved infrastructure has also helped to foster relationship between businesses, communities, and of course, marketing. Now, recently, in line with the Kogi State Development Plan, Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo commissioned the newly remodeled office complex of the Secretary to the Government of Kogi State in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital. This milestone underscores the governor's commitment to enhancing the state infrastructure and workforce productivity. Our correspondent, Ishaku Yohana, completes the story. Let's watch this report.
Previously in disrepair, the Secretary to the Government of Kogi State's office complex has now been transformed with a modern facade and upgraded amenities. During the commissioning ceremony, Governor Ododo highlighted the importance of enhancing the well-being of Kogi State citizens with emphasis on providing civil servants with a conducive working environment.
Today we are here to commission remodeled office. An office should be a place where you will be reluctant to close from, and a place where you will be in a haste in the morning to quickly go to. We want to provide, we pray to God Almighty to help us to provide a conducive environment for all our workers, including the civil servants, because I was part of them, I'm still part of them, and we are all civil servants.
The Secretary to the Government, Mrs. Foloshade Arikiayoade, expressed gratitude to the Governor for commissioning the renovated complex. The revamped SGS office complex is a testament to Governor Ododo's commitment to transforming Kogi's infrastructure and workforce.
Now, Governor Dodo's exceptional leadership has not gone unnoticed by his peers. He is held in the highest regard amongst the 21 progressive governors of the All Progressive Congress APC. His strategic role in the successful governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states, which brought victory to the APC, is a testament to his political acumen and ability to deliver results. The progressive governors consistently commend Governor Ododo for his exemplary leadership, innovative policies, and unwavering dedication to the party's vision for our great nation, Nigeria. His achievements in just 10 months have set a benchmark for what purposeful governance can achieve. Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo has become the pride of the Kogi people, a symbol of unity, progress, and hope. His ability to bring together people from all walks of life, his commitment to the welfare of every Kogi citizen, and his relentless pursuit of excellence have endeared him to all in the state. Governor Dodo's achievements is just 10 months are all a proof that Kogi is on the path to greatness. And I still have with me in the studio Ismaila Isa, the special advisor on media to the governor of Kogi State. Ismaila, once again, thank you for your time so far on the show.
Thank you.
And we appreciate that you really could make our time to be part of today's conversation. Now, before we went on that break, we were talking about social welfare and all of that. But let's look at agriculture critically. I'm trying to put my finger on the major agricultural outputs from Kogi State. So, is it just the current approach of Governor Dodo's strategy? Is it just to have food security, or is there plans to agriculturalize Kogi State to a point where Kogi more or less rub shoulders with the likes of Benue, who say they are the food basket of the nation, and a host of other states that are right now making agriculture a focal point?
Sure. Investment in agriculture is not just about food security and to also guarantee that our people can feed themselves. It also embodies the fact that we want to be able to also feed our neighbors. As a matter of fact, it is not an overstatement to assert that for many years, Kogi has actually been feeding its neighbors, immediate neighbors, and beyond. Nearly 50 to 60% of rice produced in Kogi go as far as Kano, Kebi, Yobe, and other far northern states.
Hmm.
That is beyond our immediate neighbors of, say, Ekiti, Kwara, Benue, FCT, and maybe Kaduna. Yes. So maybe with the exception of Niger, if you would, even though we have some of our farmers whose produce get faster to Niger State than Kogi State because of the
proximity.
water, the water
Waterways.
that connects Kogi and Niger. So the strategy is not only about being able to guarantee food security beyond what the smallholder farmers are doing. We have massive investment in agriculture. Before the coming of this administration, we have the Kogi rice mill in Ejuba, which has been doing very well, even though there are gaps in its operation that needs to be improved upon. Kogi is a major hub for rice production in Nigeria. From almost the entire Kogi local government, from Kotokarfi to Girinya and all of those places that borders Abaji or the FCT, there is massive rice production centers going on there. You go as far as Ibaji, Basa, you see major rice production centers happening there. So this is what the government is doing to encourage the farmers to invest more and scale up their investment, and also to ensure that off-takers from all of those far distant states that I talked about, who come and then pick these products, maybe semi-processed form,
Yes.
are discouraged, so that the state can actually keep these products, process them if possible, and then for possible consumption by people in the state, and also we can export or extend to other states in their processed form, so that the farmers will really get more value for their efforts. So beyond just feeding our people, we are doing a lot in terms of scaling up investment. We have established 3 processing centers in Alakpe, I think in Osara, and somewhere in the east. So this is something that is very deliberate. We are ensuring that our production in terms of food and livestock
Yes.
is scaled up dramatically. Just now, I'm being told that there is a livestock processing center that has just been approved by the World Bank to be hosted in Osara, and that is going to take off as soon as maybe this month. Yes, so there's a whole lot we are doing in ensuring that we scale up food production and also livestock production throughout the state. You know that we have different belts in the state that have comparative advantages in different kind of food and cash produce. For instance, in Kogi, you notice that the production of cashew nut is probably one of the best you can have in Nigeria. Cashew nut from Kogi beats what you have in all the northern states and beyond. Some of them are well sourced by investors from abroad. Yes, that's why Kogi has been reputed for its cashew nut production, which is largely domiciled in the eastern part of the country. Our cassava and other tuber produce largely in Kogi Central, from Osara up to Abubo, and even in Ibaji, where you have the biggest sizes of yam in Kogi State.
Wow.
So this has not gone unnoticed by the government. Then going to Kogi West, there's a lot of grains production that is going on there. So there is massive farming now in areas like Yagba East and Yagba West, where a lot of farmers that were forced to relocate from Benue
Yes.
and other northern states because of the insurgency have found spaces where they are doing massive farming, especially in Yagba East and Yagba West. So there's a lot that is going on in terms of agricultural produce, and we are attracting investors into all these spaces.
Let's look at natural disaster. Kogi is one of those states that has always been prone to natural disasters, especially when we enter the wet season. Surprisingly, again, this year, unlike previous years where Kogi is always at the focal point, rather it was Sokoto and the far northern states that suffered a major hit in terms of natural disasters. How did this administration manage to navigate the usual flooding, considering the fact that Kogi is a confluent state, that it happens year in, year out? But this year seems different. We didn't hear of the hue and cries of people in Lokoja and other parts of Kogi crying that they've been hit by this natural phenomenon.
Well, the flood did came, but the impact was largely mitigated because of the efforts of the administration to ensure that, one, there were transit camps, about 44 of them were set up, but only 23 were eventually activated because the impact wasn't as much as we had envisaged. His Excellency was also deliberate in ensuring that we provide relief materials to all people that were affected. And largely, there were some efforts being done in terms of clearance of drains over the years by the immediate past administration, which we also inherited. And that effort has largely assisted our people, especially within the Lokoja metropolis,
Yes.
where the impact of this year's flood was not as felt as it used to be. So our people have also become a lot conscious. We embarked on a lot of sensitization before the time the flood was supposed to come, say between August and September.
Yeah.
There were massive campaign ensuring that people moved to safer grounds. and those who were moving were also finding shelters in all those camps that we had created. And we also found support from the federal government and NGOs who came to our aid during that period that was supposed to be the peak of the flood. But largely, we were prepared with some level of disaster mitigation measures that ensure that the state was not as hit as it ought to be with the flood that came this year.
And it didn't have any impact on your agricultural plans for the year.
No, not at all. Yes, in short, what we actually suffered was about I think 4 weeks of that absence of rain. I think around July to August. There was some 4 weeks that were really hot, and then we didn't have enough rain,
Yeah.
so that affected our agricultural production. But we're able to intervene with some level of access, channelization of water to some of the rice farms, especially in the Jakuta area, that ensured that we didn't suffer as much heat as we would have suffered. But largely, the flood didn't disrupt much in the state, even though we know that there were few local governments that really were affected, but not to the extent that it used to be in the past.
Now let's look at youth empowerment and youth inclusiveness in governance. You did say when we started this conversation that the current administration has a large portion of young people
yeah.
involved in.
Yes.
How has the current administration been able? I know that if you look at very will I say reactive youths across Nigeria. Kogi youths gauge in the top 5. They are very vocal, very vociferous. But since this administration came into power, the youths, we've rarely seen any reaction from the youths. What has been the trick beyond having youths in government? What has been what is the template the current administration is using to ensure that the youths are gainfully engaged across the state?
Well, the youths have not only been at the center of the administration, they've actually taken charge. They are on the driving seat of the administration. His Excellency, the governor, has made it clear that this administration is for the young people, even though he has also received some will I say, complaints from the elderly who feel that they should also be
Carried
yes,
along.
carried along. And he has actually done that by ensuring that some of our elders are also involved in governance, especially in at the advisory level. But the youth are largely on the driving seat in this government. Look at the number of cabinet positions occupied by young people in terms of advisors. We have a large number of advisors who are very young people, and these people are driving the policies of government. Just about 2 days ago, there was a youth dialogue on youth inclusion and their involvement in budget formulation for the state. That was never done before now. You could see that during the so-called End Bad Governance protest,
Yes.
there was no protest in Kogi,
Kogi.
and it was not magic. Even the one that was supposed to be staged on October 1st, there was no protest in Kogi, largely because the youth are in government in Kogi, and we found ways and mechanisms of engaging the youth, consistently ensuring that their voices are heard and their views are represented at all levels of government. If you look at the number of local government chairmen, of 21 of them, I'm sure majority of them are former youth leaders. Look at the secretaries to the local government. Majority of them were former youth leaders.
Yes.
Look at the council leaders, all of whom are women. Majority of them have been involved in some kind of youth activities in the state. So the youth movement in the state is largely a part of government. So there's really nothing to complain about as to whether the policies are not reflecting their yearnings and aspirations. There's no complaint as to whether they've been excluded from governance. We are prioritizing payment of school fees under our free education policy, which of course is from primary 1 to SS3 in secondary school.
Wow.
Yes, we've ensured that
post-primary, post-secondary,
yes,
all taken care of by the state government.
Yes, of course. So, and we are paying bursary to all our students wherever they are in Nigeria. And then we're also prioritizing even law students who have who have exited the university campuses but are now in law
Law
schools.
school.
Yes, so they get as much as 300,000 naira. And we have ensured that subvention is paid to all the youth organizations and all the student bodies in the state. We've also ensured that there is security around our campuses. Just a few days ago, there was a joint security seminar or conference being held across the three senatorial districts, largely driven by the special advisor to the governor on youth and student matters. And then there is always a thing or two engaging our youth in the state. Our youth empowerment programs have been very much all round across all sectors. In agriculture, for instance, more than 46% of the farms under our one man, one hectare policy is dedicated to young people in the state. Yeah, so the youth are actively engaged in farming. In terms of our security architecture, most of our young people have found opportunities to be involved in our local security architecture, either as members of the vigilante or as part of the local hunters. Just a few days ago, we unveiled another set of local hunters, almost 500 of them that have been integrated into our local security architecture. So there's a lot we are doing. In terms of sports, we are doing a lot. We have a database by the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Youth and Sports Development, that has captured all our youth, so that every planning that has to be done in the state in terms of either supporting SMEs
Yes.
through the things we are doing with Bank of Industry or the World Bank. There is always a database for youth where we can pick people that will benefit. Then if we are supporting small businesses under the Kogi State Social Investment Program Agency, they have a database of young people that they reach out to almost every now and then. So there's a whole lot happening around young people in the state. So they have no reason to complain or get angry with what the government is doing.
I know the governor is a man of numbers,
Yes.
but I'm wondering what is his vision moving forward with relation to the current tax reform bill that has brought out a whole lot of controversy. A large portion of the north of northern Nigeria, even just yesterday, reports had it that senators, there was a hula baloo, so to say, in the upper legislative chamber with regards to the tax reform bill. A lot of states are edgy about the outcome of this bill because it will completely redefine what part of what states will get in terms of FAC allocation and all of that. What is the thought of Governor Ododo being a numbers person and an auditor?
Well, I wouldn't speak in terms of what he's thinking as a member of either the Northern Governors Forum or Nigerian Governors Forum. But what I understand is that in Kogi State, we are focused on ensuring that the resources in our state, we have over 32 solid mineral deposits in commercial quantity. The focus of His Excellency is to ensure that these resources begin to work for us and our people, so that we become less and less dependent on federal allocation.
So is there ongoing talks between the government of Kogi State and the Ministry of Mineral Resources?
For sure.
Because I know that under this administration, the Ministry of Mineral Resources has been pretty active trying to rejig the entire mineral resource network across the country.
Sure, we've been encouraged to apply for licenses to begin processing of solid minerals in the state.
Wow.
As we speak, nearly all or much of the 7 licenses that were applied for have been granted by the federal government. We are waiting for genuine investors now to partner with us. Just a few days ago, the Commissioner for Solid Minerals was on roadshow in Canada and a few other countries. Even when he came back to Nigeria, he's been meeting with investors. I'm sure pretty soon you hear or you see that those investors are kicking in. Some of them have come for some kind of exploratory findings in the state, and then they are deciding on which of the belts that they should invest in. We have all of these solid minerals in commercial quantities almost in all of the state. There's
Wow.
no local government in our state.
Across the
Yes,
state.
no local government that has no deposit of solid mineral in our state. Yes.
So what kind of incentives are investors expecting
Well,
from Kogi State?
most of them from the preliminary conversation that I'm privy to, they want the enabling environment in terms of security, which we are working seriously on. You are aware of our robust security architecture, and then it's almost impregnable, and we are ensuring that some of the deployment we are doing in all those belts where we have solid mineral, which we know could be prone to maybe criminal elements wanting to take advantage of those communities because of those large deposits of solid minerals. So we are ensuring that security is in place for them. We are also opening access roads in all of the local government areas in the state. So ensuring that our ease of doing business is enhanced, so that when they come, they get all the information they require. Then the community development element into their whatever agreement they are signing with the state is well embedded and all inclusive, so that some elements in the community are not excluded from all those conversations. So we are ensuring really that our resources begin to work for us in the state. We now have an agency that is responsible for solid minerals development in the state.
Wow.
Yeah, which is part of the 7 bill signed into law by His Excellency around June or July this year. So there's a whole lot that is going on in terms of what we want to do with our solid minerals development in the state. And in no time, I think Kogi will be one of the states that will be less dependent on the federal allocation. So all of those conversations about tax reform bill concern as we are, but we might not really budge.
There are sons and daughters of Kogi listening and watching. What would you say to them?
Let them come home, come and be part of what we are doing. Let them come and take part. His Excellency has been very deliberate and bold about the initiative to open Kogi State up for investment, up for opportunities. As is rightly captured, our motto is a confluence of opportunities. So everybody is free to come around and invest. We have so many of our sons and daughters now who are moving their investment back to the state. You are aware that the two largest cement factories that we have in Nigeria are in Kogi
Situated.
State, Dangote and Mangal. I'm glad to inform you that a son of the state, a son of the soil, is bringing another investment in the cement subsector that is likely to beat those two very soon.
Wow.
Yeah, so these are some of the things we are doing, and there are areas and where we are creating opportunities for people to come around and invest. And we are hoping that more and more of our people will come around. Our agriculture space is robust and ripe for investment. Solid mineral, like we said, is ripe and open for investment, as well as our tourism, for which we are still scratching the surface. There's a whole lot that can happen in our tourism development sector, and we are hoping that we can get more and more of our people to come in and then invest in all of the sectors where opportunities have been created by the government.
Well, to wrap up this morning's conversation, the Usman Ododo-led administration in Kogi State is fostering open communication channels and involving community members in the decision-making process. And this has built trust and created solutions that resonate with the people of Kogi State. This collaborative approach not only empowers residents, but also encourages a sense of ownership, leading to more sustainable outcomes. And as these initiatives unfold, the focus on both infrastructural and community involvement is expected to enhance the overall quality of life, promote social cohesion, and drive long-term development in and across the state. Ultimately, the government's commitment to integrating community feedback into its plans reflects a holistic vision for progress that benefits everyone. And that sums it up for today's edition of Rapid TV's continuously evolving social, political, and general interest show, Korero. Special thanks to Ismaila for making our time to be with us. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to coming for the commissioning so that at least we can be part of the media coverage, show Nigerians what's happening in Kogi under the leadership of Governor Usman Ododo.
Thank you.
And of course, special thanks goes to you for allowing us, as always, to be a part of your morning, and trust us to be back tomorrow with another incisive edition of Rapid TV's continuously evolving social, political, and general interest show, Korero. Of course, I am your regular host, Nkamian John the Beloved, also known as the Controversial. Till tomorrow, trust us, as always, to have our ears on the ground and our searchlight beamed on developments as they evolve. For now, it's bye.
My name is Akio Sakiodo.
Hey guys, this is Anto Lecky.
My name is Leo Bliss.
My name is Akava. I go by the name Baba D.
And you're tuned into Rapid TV.
I love Rapid TV.